Hello, and welcome back to another fabulous and wonderful episode of the Screen Stream. Now we're on episode 38, and I know I'm a day late and a penny short, but let me explain. This particular movie we will be discussing today, it's really hard to find. Like, straight up, I looked everywhere for this movie. I went to Amazon, YouTube, Netflix, Peacock, Paramount. Like, I went all over the place, and I could not find it to save my life. I had to call a friend of a friend who knew a guy who knew another guy who babysit this goldfish one time to find me a copy of this movie. And I eventually was able to get my hands and sit down on it yesterday. So I'm a little late. I tried all weekend long to find this movie, could not do it, but we are here talking about a kind of a cult classic that slowly over the years has been getting somewhat of a following, but it's Near Dark. For those of y'all who don't know what Near Dark is, it unfortunately came out around the same time a lot of like vampire, especially 80s vampire horror movies were pretty big, and Near Dark kind of fell in the middle. What made this one so different compared to some of the other ones, such as like Fright Night and hell, even Lost Boys, which actually came out, I want to say, 2 months prior to Near Dark, because Near Dark was like early October, like October 6th, 8th, something like that, and Lost Boys came out that summer. So a lot of those vampire movies like Lost Boys and Fright Night, they were more gothic horror, more somber horror. This one, on the other hand, is more of a vampire western. So it's more, oh god, what's the name of that movie? Dusk Till Dawn. It's more like that. It's a lot more cowboys. Pretty, like seriously, when I was thinking about a movie to watch, and this popped up, I was just like, vampire western. Never seen one of those except one time, and it worked out pretty damn well. But I wouldn't really call Dusk Till Dawn a full western. Had a lot of like elements of a western, more like a road to movie, but with this one, it's really interesting to see literally a western. Like there's like western scenes in this movie. Like there's literally a scene at the end of the movie where our main star Caleb is on a horse riding it down the street, and a fucking tumbleweed comes down. Like I'm not even joking, a little tumbleweed, and it spooks the horse a little bit, and it keeps on going. But I like the combination because this is something you don't see a lot. And hell, I never actually seen this movie, like perfectly honest. Basically, the reason why I chose this movie was conveniently enough, I think it was like Thursday, Friday, I sat down, I pulled up YouTube, and somebody, I don't know who, I forgot to look up the name, I very much appreciate it, but somebody posted the entire 100 Bravo's 100 scariest movie moments of all time, and I sat down and watched all 3.5 hours of this program because I needed ideas for movies. I got a bunch of them written down, but some of them I don't want to tackle just yet, being it's the nearing October, and I got big plans for October for the podcast because I will be discussing a lot on Five Nights at Freddy's with the movie coming out. I'm really excited about this. I feel like I'm going to be watching it multiple times. I've been waiting years for this movie. I enjoy the games. Am I like overly huge, like Nutter of a fan? No, I'm not a Nutter of a fan. But I do enjoy Five Nights at Freddy's and what it did for indie horror, and I've been super excited about this movie. So I will be discussing, of course, the movie. I do want to talk about the Silver Eye book trilogy that was going on. I think that's what it's called. I have it over here on my bookshelf. I audio read the first one. I haven't read the other two, but I enjoyed the first one. So I definitely want to sit down and at least read over these and get like a full like episode going on just with the books alone. And then of course I want to talk about the games, mainly the original games, the first 4, and then the VR, and then a couple of the other ones. Not like any of the like super spin-offs. Don't get me wrong, like Sister Location, very important to the story, especially with Baby and all that. Might gloss over it, but I don't see myself having the time to sit down and replay all these games. So I'll have to go mainly off of memory, what I do remember of. It's, like I said, I got a whole like thing planned out. I'm going to have to figure it out though, but we do have plans in October. So I was trying to find something to at least fill us in through September. And a lot of my bigger ones are, of course, the TV shows I can sit down and watch, mini-series, all good shit, but it's still a lot of time that I don't have at this moment doing all this shit for Five Nights at Freddy's. So it's like, out of this YouTube compilation of all 3.5 hours of this 100 Bravo's 100 scary movie moments of all time, what movie stands out to me? This one did. Out of all the movies, it was pretty early on in the listing too. It was like in the 80s or 90s. I want to say it was like 87. But the scene that got me was the scene they were talking about, and it's Bill Paxton just going ham and crazy at this bar. And as soon as they said Bill Paxton, Vampire Western, I was sold. And I had to find this movie because this is a movie I do not own. So it took me a little bit longer to find it, but I got it. I got my hands on it, so I was able to sit down and watch it. Thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I really did. There are some aspects about it that I feel like they really could have fine-tuned a lot more, mainly some character developments. I feel like this movie probably would have benefited a lot being maybe 2 hours long, just so we can have, for two reasons. One, more character development between May and Caleb's character, because of the fact that these are like fucking idiots in love. Like straight up, like they meet for all of 5 minutes. I'm so in love with you. I'm so in love with you too. Like we make fun of Bella and Edward from Twilight about this shit. At least they had 4 books of character development here. There is nothing between Caleb and May. They just like each other. And they're willing to die for each other, apparently. But I really would have liked to see a little bit more development between them. You know, maybe a little, not like a cat and mouse game, but like a push and pull thing. Like she's so in love with him, but he's a vampire, but she's a vampire and all that shit. And he don't care because she's a vampire, but then he becomes a vampire. Kinda, not really. It's kind of a loophole. Well, we'll dive into that when we get there. But yeah, I would like more development with them. Maybe they were going off the idea that, people are just attracted to vampires. Like, there's always been this lore about vampires having this ability, because they're so beautiful, just to attract anybody's attention. So that could be the case when it came to writing these two characters. But even still, though, I feel like more development should have been added in. And also, I wanted more of the vampires themselves. Fucking Bill Paxton's character, crazy as hell. I would have loved to seen him more. Fucking Diamondback, Jesse, like all those vampires were so cool, like really, really cool. And I felt like we didn't spend enough time with them. Like I would have loved to hang out with Jesse and Diamondback for a little bit more time. Just a little bit we got at them, just made them all unique and just fucking awesome. Like I'm not gonna lie, I love Jesse and Diamondback's relationship. Because they're so casual about being vampires, they know they've been around for a long time, but they're so casual and so cool and just, whatever, it's life. I mean, hell, that's what most of the vampires in this movie, they're just like, hey, I've been around for a good fucking minute. I don't really care what happens as long as I get fed. I don't care. But I wanted to spend more time with them. I really did. There was a scene in the movie near the Millish Inn where they're all hanging out at a motel and they're playing poker. I think it's poker. I don't know. They're playing some kind of card game. And they're just goofing off. And it's great. It's fucking great. But Near Dark came out in 1987. It was directed by Catherine Bigelow, who, if anybody might know this, I didn't know this until yesterday, she's married to James Cameron. Here's the funny part about this. 3 of the actors all worked with James Cameron before this movie. And don't worry, you'll recognize 3 of these actors in all 3 movies. But she helped direct this, write it with Eric Reed, who did The Hitcher, which, that's a fabulous movie, always love that one. But yeah, they wanted to do something different, I think she said originally she wanted to make a Western, but it wasn't enough, so she had to add the twist to it, which was vampires, because at the time, especially in 87, vampires were really, really trendy. That was the thing. Y'all remember back in the early, to like 2008, 2009, or like all the way to like 2000, maybe 12 to 14. Vampires were super trendy. Werewolves were super trendy. Same thing ended up happening back in 87. They were super trendy. There was a bunch of vampire movies everywhere. So she decided to add that together. And I want to say she said they made 2 different scripts. One of them, I don't think anybody was really impressed with, but people seem to like this one. So they wound up just going forward with Near Dark, which the title itself is important to her because of the fact that, vampires, they're very dark creatures. They're drinking blood, killing people, just acting amok, acting crazy. And then you got the light, which can kill them, and that is their weakness. And it's the opposite. It's what Caleb is. He is warm, he is inviting, he's a cowboy. He's pretty badass on occasions. Not that bright though. I'm going to admit that. Not that bright. Like, oh my god. Like, he does some stupid ass shit. But I mean, I guess he does the things he does for the people he cares about. I don't know, like, straight up. Maybe it was just his will to live. We'll get to that scene that I'm talking about. But yeah, basically, Near Dark is just a reference to the fact that the whole vampire thing, and they're like not nail in the coffin here, but knock on wood kind of things. Huh? God, what's that saying I'm looking for? I don't know exactly the saying I'm looking for, but it's just like pinning the nose on the donkey or something like that. I don't know. But the point is, Near Dark is basically just in the title alone lets you know that it's going to be something, crazy, some vampire shit. And trust me, we get some crazy vampire shit, mainly with Bill Paxton. Like, that man had a blast playing in this movie. I'm not going to lie, he had a ball. Him and Lance Hickerson. Damn it. Hickerson. Yeah, it's Hickerson. And if y'all don't know those two names, Bill Paxton, of course, he plays, I think his name's Severin. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Severin. But, of course, he's in Aliens. The whole epic, game over, man. Has some of the best linings ever in that movie as well. He was in Tombstone, of course, Twister, and Apollo 13. And then Lance, of course, he was in Aliens as Bishop. And funny enough, apparently Bill Paxton and Lance are the only two actors to get killed by all three, like, the big action horror icons of the time, which were the Terminator, the Predator, and the Alien. Which I thought that was kind of neat. That's the fact that they're the only two. They worked together, both on an Alien movie with James Cameron, and they got killed by all three. I want to say Lance, he played some kind of cop in the original Terminator, and he got his ass blown off, if I remember. It's that police station scene. Bill Paxton, I think in Terminator, he was some kind of biker gang leader that ended up dying. And I think that's where the Terminator got his coat from. Not 100% sure. It's been a long time since I sat down and watched Terminator. And then, of course, with Aliens, Bishop got killed by the Alien Queen. And Bill... Fuck. I'm trying to remember when he died. I can't remember when he died. Damn it. Granted, I do plan on going back, sitting down, and watching all the Aliens movies, because there's something me, Eric, and quite possibly Bidwell would want to sit down and do. Because we love the Alien franchise. It was a fantastic franchise. But Lance, he got killed by the Predator in Alien vs. Predator. The PG-13 one, not the rated R one. The one we could see but had very bad CGI blood. That one, yes, that one. He was in that one. He got killed by the Predator. And Bill, he of course, I think it was Predator 2 he got killed in. But yeah, just fun little facts. They got killed by all three iconic horror action killers. But of course, Lance was also in Pumpkinhead and Scream 3, which we just talked about not too long ago here on the podcast. Other fine actors in this movie would be Jeanette Goldstein, who plays Diamondback. She too was also in Aliens as oh god, what is her name? Riguez. Oh god, I think I know it starts with an R, but yeah, the macho lady. I love her. She was one of my favorites. You ever wonder what it'd be like to be with a man? Funny, I was going to say the same thing to you. But of course, she's also in Terminator 2, and funny enough, she was in Titanic. Didn't realize she played the mother of Fuck, what's her name? I can't remember what her name was, but she's also in that movie. Yeah, fantastic acting choices here. I'm not gonna lie. Not Kathy. Catherine did a good job picking the choices for the actors of this movie. Hands down, they were a very good cast. Like I said, I wish we spent more time with them though, because they were really fun. They were really, really, really fun, and I can only imagine what more they could add to this. Because I mean, think about all the character development you can add. You can have moments with just hanging out with the vampires, and maybe Caleb is tempted a little bit more. Unfortunately, we'll never get to know because, fun fact, everybody, we were going to get a remake of this movie in, I think they said it was like 2008. But unfortunately, guess what? And y'all can thank Stephanie Myers. Twilight canceled it because they thought vampires weren't scary anymore. So they're like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. So, I don't know whether to kick myself in the ass or not, because of the fact that I was a Twihard fan back in the day, I'm not gonna lie. I was one of those tween girls freaking out at the movie theater. I was Team Edward because I love vampires. I have no shame in my game, 100%. Don't judge me. We were all teenage girls at one point. Other fine actors, though. Of course, you got Joshua Miller, who was in Teen Witch. Actually helped produce for the Final Girls movie that came out in 2015. He was in Halloween 3 as well. He plays Homer. And I like Homer's character because he reminds me of Kirsten Dunst's character from Interview with the Vampire, where he's stuck in the body of a child. This man's been around for hundreds of years, but he's stuck in the body of a child. So I can kind of get his frustrations, man. I really do, because I saw Kirsten Dunst's frustration. Oh my god, I felt for her. Now I know why vampires have rules about not changing children. It has nothing to do with the fact that they can't handle it. And, they'll be easy prey right there. Easy to get food. But the fact that you've been around like 600 years or so. You're feeling like a Lolito over here. You're just like, dude, I got all this power in the world. I'm an immortal being. And I'm stuck in the body of a fucking 14-year-old. Like, that's gotta suck. That truly's gotta suck. A couple of other fine actors. Of course, is Jenny Wright, who plays May. She actually was in St. Elmo's Fire. My mom loved that movie, and she was also in Pink Floyd's The Wall. I don't know if a lot of y'all remember that, but yeah, fantastic actress. I loved her in St. Elmo's Fire, though. And then Adrian Pastar, Pasdar, the only one I can't say out of the listing. Congratulations me, there's only one I can't say. He plays Caleb, though. He does a pretty good job about, really laying off that innocent farm boy routine. Which is kind of a different departure for what we're used to. Because we're used to, the innocent farm girl routine. But no, he's an innocent farm boy routine. He's a cowboy. He does farm shit. Kind of. Like, his dad's more of a veterinarian than anything else. But still, they work on a farm. But he was in, of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was in Heroes, Top Gun. Another really good actor. Another well-known actor at this point. Then you got Marcy Lees, who plays Sarah. Unfortunately, did not find much for her. And Tim Thomerson, who plays Lloyd, which is Caleb's dad in the movie. Another well-known actor. A lot of 70s, early 80s movies. Pretty good choicing. I cannot be mad at any of these choices she made when it comes to casting. Because these are really good actors and roles that fit them so well. I just wish some of the writing was just a tiny bit better. Because, again, I'll harp on this for a minute, but I really wanted to hang out with those vampires. They were cool. A couple little fun facts. Of course, like I said, she married, the director of this movie married James Cameron, who, of course, worked with 3 of these actors previously. And Eric made a joke saying, I bet you James Cameron came up with this idea and she just stole it from him. I was just like, that that might make sense in some aspects because James Cameron can and will write some weird ass stories. But I also say it's not James Cameron because it's not 3 hours long. Trust me, I kind of wish it was. Imagine what a near dark 3 hour long cut would be. Oh my god. Bill Paxton would just have like an entire like 30-minute scene of him just killing people and having fun. Trust me, he has fun in this movie. This movie was actually shot in 47 days. Unfortunately, 40 of those were all night shots, but it makes sense because this is a vampire movie who are really susceptible to the sun. Like, I'm talking about really susceptible. Like, they're not, if they're standing in direct sunlight, they're burning like a candle. If they're like, kind of just like on the side, seeing the light glimmer, it still burns them. Like, it's ridiculous how sensitive these guys are to the sun. The word vampire, funny enough, is not used a single time throughout this entire movie. A movie about vampires does not use the word vampires at all. Something I also noticed as well is and I don't know if this was accidental, this was on purpose, but there's a couple cinematography shots that look kind of identical to the Lost Boys. I'm not even gonna lie. There's two shots in particular, but there's one that just I look at it and I go, "That's from Lost Boys," even though Lost Boys came out 2 months before the movie. But oh, sorry, I'm trying to read my handwriting here, and it's just, ooh, again, sloppiness. Another little fun fact is Lance, when he did his, outfit for his character. Oh my god! Apparently, he went to the extent of making his own fake nails and having someone put them on, and then he broke them. He did his own makeup effect and everything. Like, he literally went all out playing Jesse, which I forgot to say who. I don't know if I forgot to say this or not, but yes, Lance, he plays Jesse, Jeanette Goldstein plays Diamondback, and Joshua Miller plays Homer. But I thought Jesse's look was fantastic. I didn't even realize until like the ending showdown between Jesse and Caleb that Jesse is wearing a fucking duster. A cowboy western duster. And it's not until like the showdown at midnight where you actually get to see it. And I was like, man, this really is a fucking western right here. But absolutely love this movie. I really wish it wasn't so hard to find. Trust me, I really wish it wasn't so hard to find. Like, oh my god, like I searched and searched for like days trying to find a copy of this movie, and it's just, I don't know why, it's just so hard to find. I don't even want to say it was the box office. I mean, that could be one of the reasons why a lot of people don't distribute this one, because of the fact that it was shot for $5 million, but they only got back $3.4 million. And I want to say it's probably the Lost Boys' fault. I hate to say it. Like, truly, I hate to say it. Maybe even Fright Night, people probably were just tuckered out of the vampire flicks by the time Near Dark rolled around. Which is sad, because of the fact that this is actually a pretty decent movie. Like, it's a great little popcorn flick to sit down and watch with somebody. You know, you make a little commentary, a little jokes. Mainly, you're just going to be watching the vampires just do their vampire things for a little while. But for an hour and a half, can't ask for too terribly much. But let's go ahead and dive straight on into this movie. This should be super, super fun. But we opened up with something I kind of noticed, but I don't know if it's supposed to like represent something. But as the title's coming in, Near Dark, this actor, you hear a fly buzzing in the background. Now, I don't know if that was just an audio choice or they actually were meaning something, but to me, I feel like that's kind of an interesting opening choice because of the fact that it's a fly. What do flies usually hang around? Dead bodies. What are vampires? Technically, dead bodies. Movable dead bodies, but dead bodies nonetheless. The point is, there's a fly buzzing around, and even though it's a very subtle thing, I think it's a good audio choice. But as the fly's buzzing around, we're hearing this shit. Oh, it's not a fly, I'm sorry. It's a mosquito. It's a fucking mosquito. Which actually even makes it even worse, because you think about it, mosquitoes hang around dead folks as well, and the living, and suck blood. More hammer on the head kind of bullshit. Anyway, fucking Caleb, our beautiful cowboy over here, is just chillaxing in his truck. He squishes the mosquito and he says some stupid line about fuck off, stupid, or fuck off, bloodsucker, or idiot bloodsucker, or something like that. He basically calls it a bloodsucker, squishes it, no big deal. And he drives on through the state of Texas, because apparently we're in Texas. I didn't know we were in Texas, but we're in Texas. And it's beautiful, beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, like, it is beautiful, especially with the sunset and everything. It's a nice country drive as he's going towards this little bone town. And he meets up with his friends, and of course his friends are all picking with him. He's having a bad day, I guess. We don't really get a clarification. He seems a little crabbier than usual, according to his friends. And they're just like, what's eating you? And he's like, nothing. But yeah, something's clearly bothering him. Probably a longing to get away from this cowboy lifestyle he has. I mean, that's an option here. That's truly an option, you know. Like, again, it's not really what is said on screen. It's more like read between the lines. I feel like that's the way she wrote these characters, her and Eric. I feel like they wrote these characters to be more like read between the lines, read their actions. But while they're goofing off and everything, they get distracted by a pretty girl. Now, May is the pretty girl. She is standing there, eating a little ice cream cone, looking all cute and shit. And what I mean by cute, I don't mean like I find her cute or anything, but she looks like an innocent, cute high school girl, like an 18-year-old. I want to say she said she was a senior in high school. But my thing with her is, I was looking at her, I was analyzing her. She's a Manny Pixie Dream Girl. And for those of y'all who don't know what a Manny Pixie, I think I'm saying it correctly, a Manny Pixie Dream Girl, it's a stereotype of a type of girl in a movie. You know, she's always whimsical and weird, but she's got the little short pixie cut, and you can't tell her what to do. You know, she's her own strong, independent woman. She's not the independent woman stereotype, but she's a type of freedom for girls in some aspects, because she's doing the things that most girls wish they can do, but they're too embarrassed, or, you know, it's just not their style. But a Manny Pixie Dream Girl, she's willing to do it. She's a little weird, you know, she's all kind of, yeah, go with the wind, you know, kind of like a hippie in some aspects. But she's still a strong character who you can't tell her what to do because she's her own woman. And I don't have a problem with Manny Pixie Dream Girls. I just thought it was funny that I was watching a movie from 87 and we had a Manny Pixie Dream Girl in this movie. I'm like, God damn, I haven't seen one of these since like 2010. I want to say it was 500 Days of Summer. But yeah, she's just standing there. She's got her little blonde cut, cute little button up, you know, cute little pants and everything. She's just sitting there acting all innocent, you know, licking that little ice cream cone. And of course, all the guys are smitten with her. They're like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. So Caleb, you know, being the macho man he is, goes up there and tries to flirt with her, tries to talk to her. He just, hi, where are you from? Oh, you know, around. Where you living at? At the trailer park, not too far from here. Oh, you know, what's your name? May. You know, she's being all cute and shy, quiet. You know, she's like batting her eyes. Like, she's playing this boy. She is straight up playing this boy. I think she liked him the moment she stepped out. But here's a continuity error I noticed. So, later on in this movie, Caleb tries to eat a candy bar and gets violently ill. Now, I don't know if he's just violently ill because he's turning to a vampire and he needs blood, or the fact that he ate human food and then got violently ill. That's a good question because it's a continuity error. She's standing there with some ice cream and she's eating it, and yet nothing happens to her. You know, and I mean, like, she's like licking it and it's rather obvious she's eating it. So I don't know, continuity error or something else is going on with the candy bar scene. I don't know, but I figured I'll just point that out. But They introduce each other though, it's playing all cutesy and hard to get and all this shit. And he's like, well, why don't I take you home? So they get in his little pickup truck and they're driving off. He's like, well, my name's Kayla, by the way. Gosh, you're very pretty. Like, he's literally hammering it on. I don't know if he's just a desperate boy trying to get laid or he's just really smitten with her, but that's all he could say to her. He's like, gosh, you're pretty. You're really pretty. And she's all like, I'm not saying space cadet, but she's all like into the moon and like the darkness and shit. She's all like, oh my god, just like looking around and shit. But as they're driving, he's just like, well, what are you doing tomorrow? Can we spend some time together? I really like to get to know you a little bit more. Oh my God, you're so pretty. And she's like, stop the car. Stop the truck right here. Just stop it. Stop. So he stops it. She gets out of the vehicle and she just stands in the middle of the road and just looks up at the sky. Just at the dark sky. And, so he's trying to get a little... I'm not going to say handsy per se, but he does get a little close to her. And she's just like, listen to the dark. Just listen. Shh, shh, just listen. Nothing will stop the dark. I want to show you something. Listen to the night. It's deafening. I actually like that line, listen to the night, it's deafening, because of one reason. Dracula. I want to say that's the exact line he said to Hopper. Fuck, what's his name? Hopper Hawkins. Fuck, I think I'm confusing him with the guy from Stranger Things. I think it's Hawkins. I want to say I can't remember. But the point is, I remember Dracula coming down the stairs, doing his little, like, creepy little saunter, and the wolves start howling, and he says something about children of the night. Granted, it's not the exact line, but he does say the phrase, it's deafening. So I kind of like that nod, and I will say, Catherine's inspiration a little bit was from Dracula, a lot of old school vampire tales, and she did use Dracula as an inspiration. And you can kind of see it here with May, being very, acting like a very cool vampire in some aspects. I don't mean like cool, like David Cool from Lost Boys, but I mean more like a let me pretend I'm human vampire, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And, of course, after, saying, it's deafening, he gets up to her, and he's just like, you're not like any other girl I ever met. No, I would never be like any other girl you ever met. And looks up at the sky again. You see that star? You see that light right there? And right now, it is going out, and it's going to take 1 billion years for it to finally go out. But guess what? I will still be here to watch it die. I will be here, just being weird. She's just being weird. It's like she wants to tell him she's a vampire. Tell me you're a vampire without telling me you're a vampire. That's exactly what's going on right here. Just tell me you're a vampire. And, after all that, he's like all into it. So he's trying to like kind of make out with her, but she's like resisting a little bit. Not like punching him like, oh, get away from me, resisting. But, she's playing hard to get. He's trying to... And she's all like moving her neck to the side, kind of pushing back just a little bit, giggling. The hard to get bullshit. So he's just like, well, come on, let me take you somewhere special. Let me take you somewhere special that I think you'll like. And he drives her off to towards his ranch. And she's like, tell me what it is. I don't like surprises. Oh, do you like this? Trust me, you'll like this. He gets her out of the truck. They pull up after pulling up to the farm. He takes her to see his horse. Now, in every lore of vampires I ever met, animals such as horses do not like vampires. I do not know why they do not like vampires. Maybe they feel the threat of a predator around them. This is why they freak out. But the horse does not like May. Freaks out, runs off, and she's like, yeah, horses don't like me. Yeah, I can see that. Like Caleb, like you can put a little less salt in the wounds, buddy. A little less salt right there. Just I can see that. And after all that, she's like, I think we should need to go. Let's just go. And she goes to walk off, and he takes this little lasso that he has, and he, does the cowboy thing over his head and lassos her. And he tries to pull her in closer, so she pulls him in. They're giggling, and she's just like, I'm stronger than you. Yeah, I can tell. You're definitely strong for a girl. But they ended up pulling a little closer, and then, of course, like Lady and a Tramp over here. And I get really close. And then they start, making out, kissing and everything. And why, they're doing that, she realizes what time it is. She's just like, when is dawn? When is dawn? It's a few hours away. And she starts freaking the fuck out. She's like, I gotta go. Like, I need you to get me home now. Like, we gotta go. And she doesn't just ask, she demands to be taken back to her place. And of course, Caleb's like, oh, it's okay, yeah, fine, I'll take it back. And as they're driving, he's like, so let me guess, your old man's gonna beat you up, about your boyfriend. Because they did have a bit of a conversation in the truck about, does she have a boyfriend? She's like, yeah, sometimes. Which, you find out later on, Homer, the kid vampire, is the one that changed her. And Homer has this, like, weird attachment to her, but knows he can't actually, like, be with her. Like, first of all, there'd be too many damn questions. Second of all, I don't want to be thinking about that. Third of all, it sucks being a child vampire. I'm sorry. You know what? If the vampire apocalypse happens now, I'm glad I'm 30. At least I will be turned, hopefully, as a 30-year-old, and I won't be stuck in the body of a 12-year-old. Like, that shit would just suck. But, as they're driving, though, and she's, like telling him to hurry up, because the clock is ticking. The sun is a-rising, and she gotta get back, otherwise she's gonna be dust. And fucking Caleb just... I don't know. I want to see saying being a typical man, really. It's not like he's not taking the words no, but he's not listening to her when she's like, I'm in a hurry, bro. Hurry the fuck up. But he's stopping the car in the middle of the road, turning it off, takes the keys out, and goes, yeah, I'll take you back if you kiss me. Like, bro really just wants some, doesn't he? He don't care. He don't give a fuck. So she leans in. Of course, she starts kissing him. And then she bites him. Just straight up, just bites him and then dips out of the vehicle. It doesn't even say goodbye, doesn't even let him know what the hell's about to happen, just bites him and then takes the fuck off and starts running like she is racing against the sun rising behind her. She is running towards that darkness so she does not get burned alive. And Caleb tries to go after her for a minute, but then kind of gives up. And so unfortunately he saunters back to his vehicle, sits down, goes to crank it. Of course it doesn't start. Because why would it start, It would make so much sense for the car that just was going like 5 minutes ago, that didn't have any problems beforehand, no foreshadowing or warning, just to fucking stop. It's a horror movie. Vehicles just have this magical ability in horror movies to just stop working. It's incredible. Like, straight up. It surprises me the amount of times, how many car batteries just magically just stop going. It's like they just know. Alright, plot development is needed here. We're gonna die. Oh, shit. My little kitty. So, as, unfortunately, the vehicle won't start, so he's got to go home on foot. But as he's going home, he is slowly turning into a vampire. So the sun is hurting him. He's starting to smoke a little bit, but he doesn't realize this because he feels sick as ever. Like, he's limping around, he's shuffling everywhere. He's like now holding himself because he might be cold, might be hot, I don't know. But he's shuffling to his house, and of course, we see his dad, who's working on one of the animals at this moment, And his little sister's sitting there, and she's like, Dad, I think I see Caleb. About time that boy come home now. Like seriously, I don't know where he's been at all night. And of course, the sister's like, he don't look good, Dad. He don't look good. But before anyone could do anything, a fucking RV comes out of nowhere, right? And then just pulls up next to him without stopping, just yeets his ass into the RV, they close the door, and we're now in the lair of all these vampires. And of course, Bill Paxton is just hamming this shit up, just like, I had to kill you right now, boy. I had to put two in your face. Like, Bill, calm down, buddy. Bill, it'll be alright, man. It'll be alright. Just don't do anything rash. And of course, Lance's character, Jesse, he's trying to be all cool about this shit. And he's like, you fucked up, man. You done fucked up. Like, look what you done. Like, we gonna have to fix this at some point, but right now we don't have the time. And then of course Bill's just like, let me do it, man. Let me do it. I can do it. And he's like, no. And then of course May's just like, no, don't do it. Lays on top of him. If you're gonna kill him, you might as well kill me because I already bit him. Oh shit, May, really? And fucking Homer looks pissed. Diamondback's just being cool as shit about this. Like, I think she says one line. I didn't write this down, but she does say one line and then busts out laughing. Like, I shit you not. Like, she pulls out a switchblade, just clicks it, says the line, and then just laughs. I love it. She has some good energy. I'm not gonna lie. But hell, everybody did in this movie. But, they sit there and realize, oh, she turned him. He's becoming a vampire. Jesse's got to contemplate what to do. So he's like, all right, I'll give him a week. I'll give him a week to figure this out. And we'll see if he is worthy to be one of us. Which, that's got to be a lot of pressure right there. You know, you got to be worthy to be a vampire. Even though you were bit, you know, you were bit and you didn't even consent to this biting. It happened, and now they're already threatening to kill you because you became a vampire. Like, it's not his fault, man. Like, don't blame Caleb on this. Like, if anyone should be mad, it should be Jesse and May. I'm gonna be honest. It should be Jesse and May because she's the one that did this. No one, Homer trained her wrong. Homer was just like, bite who you want. Doesn't matter. I really don't know if that's how he trained her. But the point is, no one should be mad at Caleb, but somehow they're all mad at Caleb except for May. Except for May because she likes him. Everybody else is like, fuck you, Caleb. We don't like you, you outsider. Like, damn, what did he ever do? But we didn't have like a little scene like intermittently cut in with them going to, I don't know what kind of building it is, but they gotta find a little hideout to stay put at night. And while they're there, of course, we get a bit of an introduction of all the vampires after they discuss, hey, give them a week. Of course, Jesse's like, well, I'm Jesse. This over here, this is Diamond, not Diamondback, because Diamondback does her own thing, but he's like, you already met May. Severin, of course, pops up, and he's like, I'm your worst fucking nightmare, buddy. Just grabs him. Granted, he's been mean to him throughout this whole conversation, because as they're discussing what to do with him, Caleb's in the back sleeping, air quotes around that, and fucking Severin knows this shit. He walks up and he's like, quit dog shitting around. I know you're not asleep. I can smell you awake. And it grabs him and like slings him to the wall, making him hit his head. And then oh God, what was the line he said? Something about, I don't know if I'm asleep, but you gotta slap me. It was some crazy ass line about being slapped because he thinks he's still asleep. So Severin just fucking smacks the shit out of him. Just as hard as fuck. And then, of course, Bill Paxton's just laughing about this. He's like, okay. Like I said, he's mean to him. So when he grabs him, he's just like, I'm your worst fucking nightmare. I believe that, man. I believe that. And of course, we meet Diamondback, who's pretty badass. And then Homer, I think, grabs him by his throat and his penis, and basically says, "My name is Homer, Homer. you say the word or the name wrong, I hate to be you. And then kind of let him go. Like, damn, somebody's got small dick energy going on right here. Sorry again, Homer. I get it. I get it. You're frustrated on several different reasonings, like straight up. But I like this introduction because they're all unique introductions. And of course, we didn't need one for May. We didn't need one for May because we've already met her in the beginning of the movie. Jesse, his is simple but efficient because of the fact that he stands up to start the introduction and he lets him know, and he gives him his full and last name. You know, so it lets him, you as the audience and Caleb know he is the leader of this group. He is the one in charge. So he's like, you met May, and then kind of points to somebody else. And of course, Diamondback, she's just Jesse's a little lackey. You know, she loves him. He loves her. You can feel. They never say it, but you can feel the love between them because they have cute little moments that I just fucking adore between them. That is real love right there. And of course, Homer gives off his small dick energy, but again. You know, because he's a grown man stuck in a kid's body, you can kind of get why he's a little territorial, especially with the fact that May bit him. And he even says that, you know, May bit you after I bit her. And I think he also insults his looks. Somebody kept insulting his looks. I want to say it was Homer. Homer was not thrilled by his looks or anything about Caleb. Oh, he was so mean to Caleb. Like, you thought Bill Paxton's character was bad? No, Homer fucking worse. But like I said, I like their introduction, especially Severin's introduction. Like, yeah, we know he's an asshole. I just like the fact that he introduces himself like an asshole. So after the little introduction, we see Severin trying to steal a truck, which he does. He does successfully. And they burn the RV, you know, burning their tracks. And they keep carrying on throughout the drive. And once everybody, you know, gets to their little locations, they're doing their own thing. I want to say they park the vehicle, May and Caleb walk off to go talk, and everybody goes out to go hunt for the night. Because everyone kind of does their own hunting. Like, they don't hunt like a family, they don't hunt like a group, they hunt like a bunch of, well, wild Western people. Like, they do their own things, and they come back with their collective items. Like, how many people did you kill today? Oh, I killed about 3. How about you? But while May and Caleb are talking, you know, he's very confused and he keeps getting sicker and sicker. But he's just like, hey, listen, I just want to go home. Like, I like you. Like, you're cool and all that shit. But I want to go home. Okay, at this point, he's been with him for 24 hours. Like, he even slept with May before they got the truck and everything. They not sleep with her like in a sexual manner, but you know, they cuddled together and they fell asleep. So, you know, he's been there for a good 24 hours, so he really wants to go home. And she's just like, alright, but I'll be seeing you around because you ain't gonna get very far. I'll be seeing you. So he goes and hobbles his fucking ass past the movie theater, which, by the way, is playing Aliens. I thought that was a funny little nod right there. Fucking Aliens. But he gets to the bus station, and poor buddy. He gets there, and he's just like, I need a bus, just one bus ticket to this place. What place? My hometown. I forget what he called it. He's like, it's like an hour and a half from this place. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, bus ticket is $14. He's like, pulls out a little wad of cash, and he's still like in pain, agonizing pain. But he grabs it, and he's just like, I only got 11. Well, I got a bus ticket for 14, so good luck. And he like turns around and just kind of ignores them, like, you are a douchebag. Like, sorry, not sorry, Mr. Bus Driver Attendant or whatever the fuck you're supposed to be. You're a douchebag. $3 short. Like, you don't have $3 to spare this kid who looks obviously hurt and just needing to go home? Give him $3 fucking, dude. No, no, I'm gonna be an asshole though. I really wish we would have had a nice scene of Severin and everybody there to kill them. That would have been pretty fucking sweet. But unfortunately, Caleb staggers away from the counter. He goes to the vending machine. He gets a candy bar and he tries to eat it. And he doesn't even get like a few chews in before he just pukes it up. Like he just throws it back up. And this guy comes up and he's like, you alright, buddy? Yeah, I'm $3 short of my bus fare, so I just want to go home. Okay. Do, do you have a problem, sir? Actually, I do. And then he pulls out a badge. He's a fucking cop. And he's like, you're my problem. And he pulls him to the side and he's like, son, what are you on? Nothing, sir. Hey, let me look at your eyes. What do you want? Nothing. I don't feel good and I just want to go home. Yeah, you don't look good. And he tries to, like hold his head up. And the cop's got like a gash or something on his hand. But Caleb gets a whiff of his hand and kind of looks at it, but stops himself and just looks back at the cop and just, oh man, I just really want to go home. He's like, all right. And he gives him the $3. He's like, get your bus ticket and go home and go nowhere else. Stay good, kid. Stay good. And he sends him on his way. Now, while he's on the bus, Caleb gets sicker. Like, way sicker. And I don't know why he just couldn't sit out the rest of the ride or anything like that. But he decides he needs to get off the bus. So he gets off the bus drives him, he stumbles, funny enough, back to May. He stumbles right back. I don't know if she was waiting for him or if he just happened to circle back to her or what. But somehow he winds up back to May. And he collapses in front of her and he's just like, I'm dying. I'm dying over here. What is going on? And he hugs her by her legs and she brings him in close. She cuts her arm open and she starts feeding him her blood. And of course, it's supposed to be a typical vampire thing. It's supposed to be erotic. That was one of the whole things about vampires, especially when they're biting somebody. It's supposed to be an erotic nation of sexual tension. It's supposed to be like this hot, steamy, but naughty thing you're not supposed to be doing. And for a lot of vampires, it's kind of a turn on because they're getting the nutrients and what they want. And they've got a willing participant. So they're all in a good mood. So yeah, every vampire lore, or at least story-wise, has always made the biting a very sexual thing. And it's no different here. But as he's drinking her blood and he's getting all into it, sucking her arm. And she's like, I asked you once if you listen to the night. Now listen to me. And then, of course, once he gets done, he pops up and they start making out again. Great love story, guys. Great love story. I'm going to be this person, though. Still a very better love story than Twilight. Still a better love story than Twilight. Yeah, Twilight might have had more character development between their fucking relationship, but I still like these two people more than Bella and Edward as I grew up. Like, seriously, I sit down and watch that movie not too long ago. And I was just like, what the fuck was I thinking as a kid? I used to eat this shit up like candy. Like, straight up, I'm embarrassed for myself. I'm embarrassed for myself, so don't be embarrassed for me. But after they get done making out, they, of course, run outside, and she's looking up at the sky again. And she's like, the night is so bright, it will almost blind you. Kind of trying to influence him to accept the creature of the night thing. Hey, the nighttime's beautiful. And that's something a lot of vampires have always done as well. Try to play off how beautiful and wonderful the night is. Yeah, you're not going to miss the sun. Who needs sun? Sun sucks. That's daytime. Daytime's for losers, The night, though, the night's so beautiful and bright and vivid. Like, you don't need that sun. But I always like that because, that's a vampire's way of trying to convince you to basically join the dark side. But after that, we then cut to Caleb's dad and sister kind of worrying about Caleb. They done called the police, asking, hey, what are you doing to look for my son? You know, this RV's already, taken off. They could be like a state away or something like that. And the cop ain't really taking this shit too serious. I'm gonna be honest. He's just like, oh, you know how teenagers are. We'll keep a lookout for them. You know us. Yes, I do know you. Typical cop in every horror movie. Completely fucking useless. So we then cut back to Caleb after his dad's just like, you know what, I'm gonna go find my son myself. And Caleb's trying to call home, but unfortunately, because Dad's on a hunt for him, nobody picks up. So he gets a little mad about that, and he starts to walk. And as he's walking, he starts freaking out again. Because again, he's hungry. He wants something. And of course, when May shows up, she's like, talk to me, what's going on? And he's just like, and he straight up is just like, I'm scared. I'm fucking scared. And I don't blame the man, or the boy, I should say, because he's technically supposed to be like 18, 19, maybe something like that. But I don't blame the boy. Like, straight up, I would be scared too if I was taken from my home, turning into a vampire, and feeling these weird urges to kill people, even though I've never wanted to kill a person a day in my life. And I got this woman talking all this like crazy shenanigans about how beautiful the nighttime shots are. I'm fucking scared. So I give him credit. They really could have played this off like he's a bit of a bitch, but he ain't a bitch. He really isn't. Like, I feel for this kid. I feel for him. May tries to calm him down though, and he's just like, so what do we do now? What do we do? And of course, like any good vampire, she just replies with, whatever we want. But you have to kill. You have to listen to your instincts. And of course, we get this really nice shot to see how everybody else kind of hunts during the night. And I like this because, again, you get to see a different personality of the other vampires. Of course, we get to see Homer. And Homer's playing innocent child hits in the middle of the road. Like, there's like a bicycle turned over and he's just laying out in the middle of the road. And this guy gets out and he's like, oh my God, kid, are you okay? And of course, Homer, gets up and just bites him in the neck, calls it a day. Then you got fucking Bill Paxton's character. Man looks good. Like, he's done cleaned himself up. He's wearing a nice shirt. He's looking all badass and everything. He's playing with his gun. He's just standing on the side of the road, by the way. I don't know why. He's standing on the side of the road playing with his gun. And his truck pulls over these two beautiful women. And he comes in. He's just like, hey, ladies. How would you like it if I bought you a drink? Oh, we would love that. Get in. Like, first of all, stranger danger. Second of all, the fact that he smooth talked his way into these girls' vehicles was fucking incredible. But again, it shows you how they play their victims. Again, Homer pretends to be a sickly child in danger. That's one of the easiest ways to get your prey right there. Pretend to be a sickly child, they'll get really, really close to you. Boom, right there. Free meal of the day. The fact that fucking Severin smooth talked his way. Like, we've seen him throughout this entire time. He's wearing a leather jacket. His face is all dirty and everything. He's fucking crazy. On this moment, he cleaned himself up and looked really fucking nice. And then we have my favorite. We don't get to see the actual kill, but I can only imagine how this went. So we're with Jesse and Diamond, and she's leaned up close to him, touching his hand. And he's driving, he's just like, I know where we're at. Isn't that where I pulled over at? Oh, yeah, that is where we pulled over. Yeah, and the moment I saw you, I knew you were trouble. How long has it been now? Oh, that's been many, many years ago. I know how time flies. And I like that. You get to know these vampires a little bit, and you can see that, yeah, time has flown by for these guys, but they still can somewhat remember when they first met and how they fell in love. Like, she truly loved him the moment she saw him. It's probably a terrible decision, but she didn't see that. She didn't see this as a terrible thing. She saw a man she liked and went for it. And she stayed with him, and she loves him, and he loves her. Like, it's a beautiful. The beautiful relationship. Even though we don't get much dialogue or backstory about their relationship, you can see just in this little piece right here, they have a very strong relationship. But as they're driving, they see a hitchhiker, of course. So they, pull over, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be, we're going to get the hitchhiker in and kill him that way. No. The hitchhiker gets in, and another guy comes to the driver's side and points the gun at Lance's character, Jesse. And he's just like, yes, now turn your vehicle off, old man. Really? This is really how we're gonna do this. And of course, Diamond and Jesse are just don't give a fuck. They don't care. This is what they want. This is really what they want. Two guys, two meals right here. This is what they want. One each. They don't have to share. One each. But this one guy's like all over Diamond, like grabbing her by the throat, pointing a gun at her, trying to be all like a sexual predator almost. Like, oh man, his wife is so fine and beautiful. All the things I'm gonna do to her, and all I'm thinking is, oh, the thing she's gonna do to you, buddy. The thing she's gonna do to you. But as they're gloating about what they're about to do to Diamond, we leave off with Jesse just turning up the radio. We don't get to see the kill, and I really wish we could have sat there. Again, this the benefits of being a 2-hour movie. We could have sat there and watched these kills. Now, I will say something about a lot of these kills in the movie. They're not overly gory. They're not overly bloody. They're not overly violent to a degree. Like, there's some violent moments, but we don't get to see it like we did in The Lost Boys. Because y'all remember that scene in The Lost Boys where they attack those campers or whatever, and David bites the head off of one of the guys, and we see blood just gushing everywhere and all that shit. Yeah, we get nothing like this in this movie. It's all kind of clean cuts. We get our imagination does the thing for us, but we really don't get to see the actual aftermath. Which again kind of sucks, because I would have loved to see how Jesse and Diamondback handled these two fucktards, like straight up. But after we see them doing their thing, we see May and Caleb. They've been picked up by a truck driver. And Caleb, of course, he's being sick, and he really wants, to feel better. So May's trying to convince him to kill this truck driver. But they're trying to have a casual conversation, and he's teaching him how to drive the truck. He's like, what you want to do is do this, and this is how you stop this, and this is how you do this. Like, he's literally the guy's very gleeful about telling him about how to drive a truck. He loves driving trucks. Apparently, that's like his favorite thing in the world to do is drive fucking trucks. But as they're chit-chatting, and he's trying to fight the urge to kill this man, he tells him to pull over. Gets out, and he gets down like almost like he's about to throw up, and the truck driver comes out thinking, oh, you can't hold your beer, you can't drink and drive at the same time, but you're gonna have to get used to that if you want to be a truck driver. Just kind of just being a friendly motherfucker. May's behind him, and then slowly but surely just goes up to him and then just bites him, straight up just bites him. And kills the poor truck driver. And again, I really like that truck driver. He was super nice. Super nice. Loved his truck. He loved his job. Straight up. So after that, she then takes him somewhere else so he could feed on her. Because this is how he's being able to sustain, being a vampire. He keeps feeding off of her. And while they're in the middle of this oil field, don't ask me why they're in the oil field, but they're in the oil field, and there's oh god, what those storms called? Not thunderstorm, it's a heat storm. Heat storm's coming through. So we got like things of lightning going, and a couple of thunder things. And as he's drinking on her, he gets a little too aggressive about this. Like, he gets really fucking aggressive. And she just pulls him off of her and pushes him back, and she falls back. And again, we had that big eroticism moment, and he's all into this. She just looks at him and is just like, if you drink too much from me, you will kill me. You will kill me. Which, again, part of vampire lore. That's always been the thing, that if you drink from the vampire and you drink too much of his blood, you will kill them. That's always been a thing I've read about. But again, just the big moment of this scene though is the eroticism of she got the kill, and now it's his turn to get the drink. And you see kind of a push and pull moment here, because of the fact that he really wants to continue drinking her, kind of feeding into his urges, and she's just like, hey, back the fuck up, you're gonna kill me if you keep doing that shit. Kind of reminding him that, hey, I gotta kill somebody if I want to sustain living like this. Which, I mean, think about it. Could you have the morality to be a vampire? Like, seriously, if say you were kidnapped, or say if you meet this tall, dark, handsome person, or this cute little pixie dream girl type of girl, they turn out to be vampires. They bite you, and you become a vampire. Could you do it? Could you do it? Could you sit there and live an eternity, life, and kill somebody every day for the rest of your life? Because think about it, you would have to kill every day to sustain yourself. Granted, you got plenty of choices, especially in today's society, unfortunately. I hate to look at it like that, but it's a true statement. You got choices. But it's about the morality. Would you be able to give up killing somebody to sustain living? I think personally, if I was a vampire and given no other situation, I gotta live life. I gotta live. And unfortunately, if the only way for me to live is to kill someone, well, I'm going to be killing people that deserve it. That's how I'm going to eat. If you are a murderer, a rapist, a molester, or any form of like a terrible human being and I was a vampire, oh, I'm coming after your asses first. I'm not going to lie. I'll be doing research. I'm going to become a cop. Fuck it. I'll be a vampire cop, right? Work the night shifts. I'm going to get all my files and information from the police database right there. And I'm going to find every sick individual. And I'm just going to wipe them from the face of the earth. That's how I'm going to sustain being a vampire. I'm not going to go after the young or the beautiful. Or the young, the children like. No, I'm going to go after criminals. I will be the Batman of the world. And I'll be the backwards Batman. Alright, I'll be more bat than man. But seriously, ask yourself that question. If you were to become a vampire, though, could you do it? Could you really do it? And that's something Caleb struggles a lot with this movie. And again, we see it in this particular scene. That he struggles with the fact that he's going to have to kill somebody. So after that, we didn't see Caleb's dad again, trying to figure out where his son is. So he ends up calling and, checking in like, hey, have you seen my son? And they're like, yeah, we saw him. This officer said he saw him at the bus station. Well, he could be heading back this way now, da-da-da-da. All right, I'll go track him down. And Dad and Sarah go take off to go find him again. We then cut to, I want to say it's a train scene. I'm not sure what the hell is going on. Looks like they're in a train cart, though. And they're all sitting there, and they're disappointed with Caleb. They're like, Caleb, you haven't been eating. You're not part of us. You're not one of us, man. Like, you're not being a vampire. We got to kill you, man. You got to go. And of course, May's like, no, please don't kill him. Give him one more night. One more night. Let him prove to you guys that he can do this. Just one more night. Alright, fine. One more night. That's all he gets. One more night. You better kill someone by the end of before the dawn hits. Otherwise, it's going to be you. So, we then have this beautiful moment. This is one of those scenes I was talking about that kind of reminds me of Lost Boys. So, y'all remember, I just talked about this scene, when they go kill the campers, right? And David, Michael, and the boys all come up on top of the hill, and they're all like in their silhouettes, dark silhouettes, and there's that ray of light coming behind them, kind of giving them a very creepy atmosphere. Same thing here. Same fucking thing here. It's literally all of them walking up on a hill, all their silhouettes with a bright light behind them. I was just like, that is a Lost Boys scene through and through. But they're heading down to a biker bar. Now, this is the scene where, made me want to watch this movie. So, they go down to the biker bar, and everybody's kind of chill, especially Bill Paxton's character. He seems giddy with glee. This man seems so happy about what he's about to do. But Caleb and him, they go to the bar, and of course everybody else goes to this table, and they sit back there. Homer sits on the table. Don't ask me why. Homer just sits on the table. Diamondback sits next to Jesse. Caleb and Severin are chillaxing at the bar, and Mason down with everybody else. Of course, Severin gets up there, sits him down, and spills this gentleman's drink. And this gentleman gets kind of a little pissed off, and of course Caleb's just quiet as ever. Quiet, like Caleb don't want to be a part of this shit, but Severin wants to pick a fight. So he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to spill your drink. I'll get him another one. It'll be all right. But I'm going to need the worst piece of shit drink you have I can get. Make it a double. Of course, the bartender's just like, I'm not going to serve you. What do you mean you're not going to serve me? I'm not going to serve you. You're weird, buddy. You're weird. You and all your friends can get out. Oh, now, don't be that way. Don't be that way. Well, fine. You're not going to serve me a drink. I'll take this gentleman's drink. And he grabs the guy's shot, takes half a swig, spits it in his face, and goes, how can you drink this horse shit? And then the guy goes to stand up and punch Severin, but instead of hitting him, Severin takes a step back, grabs Caleb. He grabs Caleb, puts him in front of him, and the guy punches Caleb. And I forgot what Severin said, but he's like, oh, you gonna let him do this to you, Caleb? You gonna let him just beat you? Like, damn it, Severin. Stop it. Get some help, my dude. Get some fucking help. But Caleb eventually gets pissed, so he punches the guy so hard, he ends up, like, falling back onto the pool table, and he's just standing there like, did I do that? And, of course, everyone busts out laughing. They're like, yeah, did I do that? That is fucking hilarious. And you see the bartender at the same time trying to grab his shotgun and load it. Man ain't doing a good job, by the way. Like, he is struggling hardcore. Like, he's like, dude, I get you're trying to make eye contact so you don't look that suspicious, but if you're struggling that hard, I don't think anybody would notice. You look down for a second and went, oh, shit, let me adjust these bullets real quick. I'm just saying. But, the waitress comes by, and, of course, Jesse asks her just for a glass. Just for a glass. He doesn't want a drink, he just wants the glass. She hands him the glass, and she goes to walk away, and Jesse stands up. Now, I'm going to fucking admit this. This scene was kind of hot. I'm not going to lie. This scene was kind of, and I see how Jesse gets away with killing the people he does, because this is kind of hot. Jesse stands up and kind of, not aggressively, but gently, but sexually, grabs her by the throat and pulls her in closer. And he starts flirting with her, like, oh, where are you going? Don't you want to stay here and hang out with us? Nah, what about the drinks? Fuck the drinks. And he, like, sits down, and he's just flirting with her hard fucking core, and then Diamondback comes up behind her with a fucking knife and just slits her throat, and she falls forward with the empty cup in her hand, and it just pours into the cup. I'm sorry, that is badass. Like, that man played her to the very fucking end, and it was even a joke to him. He purposely made her bring her a glass to put her own blood in. It's a joke to him. But as, that ends up happening, of course, the bartender's just struggling with his fucking gun. So eventually he looks up, he goes, what do you guys want? And Jesse walks over, closes the door, locks it, and he says something along the lines of, just a few minutes of your time, that's all you can ask for in life, or something like that. Something about his life, and that I'll only ask for a few minutes of your time. And Severin, at this point, starts really fucking with these guys. And he walks up to this one guy, and the dude's just like, hey man, what do you want? Oh, nothing, man. I don't want anything from you. And then starts taunting him about fucking his mother. He's just like, yeah, I don't want anything from you. Now, your mother, on the other hand, she wanted something from me. Yeah, I love fucking the shit out of her. And this guy's just like, man, you don't mean that, man. You don't really mean that. Leave my mama alone. He's trying to be that guy. And Severin just keeps fucking with him. Just like, oh yeah, that's what your mama said. Yeah, I think I met her like 15, 20 years ago. How old are you, son? Like, damn, dude, calm down, calm down. But after that, they end up getting into a bit of a tussle for a second. And I think the dude like stabs Severin. He does something to Severin, and he's not even fazed by it. He's just like, huh, yeah, I told you to shut up. And he grabs him by the neck and then starts twisting it and basically breaks his fucking neck. Just like it's actually a pretty nice neck snap. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a sucker for a good neck break. I am not gonna lie about that. I have said that multiple times. A good neck break can really, really set a tone for the rest of the scene. And this set a tone for the rest of the scene. Because once he breaks the neck, he pulls him in closer and he's just like, I hate it when they don't shave. And then bites into him. And then it's almost like he gets sickened because the guy tastes bad or something. But it's all a joke to him. So he stands up and he's covered in blood on his hands, on his mouth. And he starts like licking his fucking, like, woo, that is finger licking good. It's like... like, I don't know if he improv that line or what, but he just like, that is finger licking good right there. And he looks at the fucking the bartender, and the bartender finally got his fucking shotgun up and going, so he pulls out the gun and he shoots Caleb. Don't ask me why he shot Caleb. Caleb did nothing wrong. But Caleb got the short end of this fucking stick. He got shot, though. And Caleb's just standing there holding his gun. And he's just like, holy shit, Jess, am I alive? Like, he is having a fucking freak out. And Jesse's just laughing his ass off. And again, I wish we had more chemistry like this. This whole scene, I wish there was more of this scene in this movie, because this is just great to watch them all interact. And it would have been really cool to see Caleb actually maybe kind of accepting being a vampire. So him being the newest vampire and like freaking out about being a vampire, seeing what all he's capable of doing, and the fact that he got shot and survived, I think would have added more development and more fleshed out tones for these characters. But again, I didn't write this. I didn't write this. But she did a good job writing what she did. It's just a few little tweaks here and there. It definitely would have made this movie a hell of a lot better. Again, guys, don't get me wrong. It's a good movie. It's still a good fucking movie. But after that, Bill Paxton's character walks over to the bar, jumps up on top of it, and then starts like leaning in closely to him, like he's fucking Pennywise over here before Pennywise was a thing. He's walking close to him and he's smashing all the glasses on the bar, and he's just like, oh, yoo-hoo. Again, you had to see it. He was standing there before he jumped on the bar, right? And he said yoo-hoo, but he waved at the same time. Again, Bill Paxton had a ball on this movie. But yoo-hoo, jumps on there, starts smashing all the glasses, acting like Pennywise, leans in, and he's just like, I got a new name for you. You pig knuckle, that's what you are, sir. You having a problem with your hog leg boss, aren't you? And the guy, like the whole time, the bartender like is struggling so hard with his fucking gun again. Don't ask me why. But before the dude could do anything, Severin takes out his boot knife and then proceeds to cut left, cut right, cut left, cut right. Basically, very like ballerina-esque style almost. It was very nice. And we just hear the sound effects of his neck being sliced, and then his body just falls the fuck over. And once that ends up happening, another guy ends up standing up, and he's looking at fucking Diamondback, and Diamondback just looking at him, and it's just like, hey, there's a fly on the ceiling. And everybody looks up. Everybody. Caleb looks up. The guy looks up. I looked up. I'm just like, what do you mean there's a fly on the ceiling? As soon as he looks up, I'm thinking, oh, she about to bite him. No. Homer pulls out a gun and just shoots the man in the chest. I don't know why. Like, I'm confused. Confucius is very confused right now. I thought that would be a very sexy kill for a vampire to have. You know, hey, look up. And then his neck's exposed. But for some reason, Homer just shot him multiple times in the chest. And then the last guy standing there holding a little pool stick, and May walks up to him, and she's being all cutesy, girly, you know, soft spoken. Just come dance with me. Come on, just come dance. Come on. Starts dancing with him. This man, he's like freaking out, like, oh my god, what's going on? What is life? And then Caleb approaches them, and she's like, he's for you, Caleb. He's for you. And Caleb thinks about it, and he walks up to him. The guy's just like, oh, hell no. And he takes off running, jumps head first out of a window, and starts running. And they're like, go get him, Caleb. And then, of course, Caleb, you know, gets on the window and jumps off and chases after him. And everyone starts setting the fucking bar on fire. Now, the entire time in this bar scene, there's several good songs playing on the jukebox that just fucking make this scene. But as they're setting the bar on fire, Caleb grabs the guy and is looking at him and just can't do it. He can't fucking do it. I can't do it. So he lets him go, and the dude runs the fuck off. Which, of course, pisses everybody else off, which makes sense. Like, I would be pretty pissed, too, because now you have a witness to what we've done. Granted, I would love to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation. Like, the man just comes busting on through to the police department. Oh, my God, there's been a murder. There's been a bunch of murders. What happened? We see there's these people, right? And one of them bit this other guy. Huh? And what's his name? Batman? Was it Bigfoot? Was it the Loch Ness Monster? Like, seriously, though, how do you explain this one to the police officers? I don't know. I mean, he does a fine good job, because later on, the police do show up. But still, though, how do you explain this to the police? So, as they're driving off, they're panicking, because Caleb done fucked up. Caleb let this witness go. And they gotta, get out before the sun comes up. So they're trying to sunproof the car again. And, they got aluminum foil and all this shit, trying to black out with duct tape and all those other shenanigans. And as the sun's coming up, Jesse goes to this motel. Pulls up, and he's trying to be quick as fuck about this. So he, rings the bell, and he's being very aggressive. And he's just like, I would like to rent one of your bungalows. Let me have one. Slams the money on the table, and you see, his beautiful nails. Like, he's got some vampire nails on him. I'm so glad Lance decided to do that, because that was a great choice for him, costume-wise. But the dude gives him, the key, and he's just like, didn't you stop by here before? I think I've seen you before. Yep, I try to get around these parts once every 50 years, and then closes the door. And everybody goes to the motel to sleep it off. And I love this particular scene because, one, it's an amazing shootout. It's a fun shootout. But just everything building up to it and how it left off, it's just a really great moment. But they're all sleeping. You got Diamondback and Jesse snuggling up on the bed. I'm talking about, it's super cute. Like, she's all up in his chest, just holding on to him. So adorable. Fucking Severin's just laying back in a chair, leaning up against the wall. May and Caleb are snuggling up against the wall, and Homer's in the bathtub, just chilling out in there, sleeping. And they get an aggressive knock at the door. Of course, wakes Severin up, and turns out it's the police. Cool to know that the police somehow tracked them down, even though they changed vehicles. Somehow the police tracked them down. Plot twist, everybody. Plot twist. So as they all wake up and they realize it's still daytime, because one of them opens the curtain and they get burned. So they're like, shit, it's the fucking police and we don't have time for this. The police is just like, if you don't open the door, we're gonna have to come busting on in there. And everyone gets armed and ready. Armed and fucking ready. I'm not even joking. They get the little mask on. They get fucking blankets over themselves. They get their guns ready. They argue about whether or not to give Caleb a gun. And they eventually concede and give him a gun. And It's all out firefight right here. They blow one officer through the door, make a big ass hole in his gut, and it comes through the light shines through the door and gets severed in the gut, so he falls back, and then everyone's just blowing holes in this fucking bungalow. So the vampires are freaking out, but they're getting a couple of good kills while we're at it. And they're trying to hide out, and Caleb he's thinking. He's like, what do we do in this situation? What do we do? And he looks down and he sees a van, and he's like, I want to go for the van. Are you crazy? That's suicide. Well, what else do we have? All right, cowboy. So you think you can do it? Good luck. See you in hell. Just give me the keys, Grandpa. All right, son. And they throw him the keys, and he covers himself with a blanket and takes off running to the vehicle. And as he's running, of course, the cops are trying to shoot him, so they're getting him in the legs. He's collapsing over, but he's still just going. And eventually, he gets set on fire. He's on fire at this point. And all the way to the vehicle, he's on fire. Nobody stops and questions this. Not a single officer just goes, why is that boy on fire? Hey, hold on, stop the shooting. Why is he on fire? Hang on a second. Can someone explain this to me? Nobody. They just, well, he's still going, so we still gotta shoot him. And he eventually gets to the vehicle, takes the blanket off, cranks it up, and then floors it into the bungalow, smashing the walls down so everyone can quickly hop in. They start trying to, again, proof the fucking van for the travel. And he takes off, running shit over. Everybody's cheering, like, woo, yeah, we did it. Yeah, this is great. This is awesome. Yeah, good job, Caleb. Caleb's on everybody's side now. He may have fucked up, but he done saved the day. So, as they're celebrating the victory, they go back to another motel, and everyone kind of piles into the room, and they're just like, everyone gives their congratulations. They're like, hey, you did good. Severn looks at him, gives him a weapon, and it's just like, I'm proud of you. You made me proud of you. And then Homer walks up to him and shakes his hand, just like, you did a good job. And Jesse's like, you bought yourself some time. You did good. You bought yourself some time. And, of course, everyone's like, oh, my God, yeah, Caleb's a cool guy. We all love Caleb. Woo, we're all celebrating Caleb's a cool guy. Caleb looks at Jesse, and he's just like, I got to ask you something, though. I got to ask something, Jesse. And he's like, what's that? How old are you? How old am I? I can tell you this. I fought for the South. You fought for the South? Yeah, and we lost. Like, straight up. Can I give you a little tidbit, a little information about our buddy? And also, rumor is, if you hear a piece of dialogue, some point earlier in the movie, if you're listening to the vampires banter about Chicago, they admit about starting the Chicago fire in the 18th century. Maybe. I don't know. They make a mention about it. But, it kind of gives you a tidbit, though, how old, some of these vampires are. But I like that, though, especially the fact that we're all celebrating, we're all happy, it's all cool. Like, I really can see these guys being a vampire family right here, just 100%. Oh, boy, my dream shattered very quickly. So, after, he tells them that, May and Caleb go outside to go have another private conversation while everyone else sits down to go play some poker. And, this is when we get a little information about May, how she became a vampire, and he asked me, when will you change? Oh, about 4 years ago, Homer pretended to be a 5th grader asking help for his homework. Sounds about right coming from Homer. Which, that's, again, sickly little child right there. You look like a sickly child. Anybody's willing to come help you. But after, they have these beautiful moments, they're cuddling with each other and stuff. We cut back to the rest of the guys just goofing off playing cards. They're like, Finn, are you cheating, man? Let me see up your sleeve. They're pointing guns at each other. And Diamondback's like, oh, you guys, calm down. You get to see them be just normal motherfuckers. As weird as that sounds, you don't get to see them be normal motherfuckers. We see them as vampire motherfuckers, but not normal people. And this is kind of like a sense of them being somewhat normal. They may not be a family, but they get along like a fucking family. But Homer ends up wanting a smoke break, so he steps outside. And while he's outside smoking a cigarette, he sees a kid. And he's smitten with her. And he walks up to her, and she's getting coke. He's like, "Hi. Hi. It's rude to stare at people." And she turns around. It's fucking Sarah. It's Caleb's sister. They're conveniently at this motel, too. Who knew? Caleb sure as fuck didn't. He sure as hell didn't. But as he's chit-chatting with her, he's acting like a normal child. He's just like, "What are you doing out here alone?" "I do what I want, as I want, when I want." "Oh, well, do you want to come watch TV? Is it colored?" Yeah, it is. Come on, let's go watch TV. And then walks in to the lair with the other vampires who are all smoking and playing poker. And she walks in, she's like, You guys stay up really late, don't y'all? Huh, we work odd hours. Guess who said that line? Fucking Bill Paxton, yet again, saying the great one-liners. But as they're watching TV, Diamondbag is just like, Homer, kind of like, "Homer, what the fuck you doing? Why you bringing this girl here?" And she's like, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, with my dad." "Are y'all staying here? What room number?" "Oh, it's number 303, we're just hanging out and everything." And eventually Homer, I guess, is losing her interest because she wants to leave. And he's like, no, just stay, please. I'm sure I can find something on television for us to watch. And she goes to leave, and she runs into Caleb on his way in. And he's like, "Oh my God, Sarah." Hugs her. Oh shit. Didn't mean to hit my mic right there, but he hugs her. And he's like, "Sarah, what are you doing here?" "I should punch you in the face. Where have you been, Caleb?" And everyone's just like, "Huh? How do you know this child?" And he's like, "It's my sister. And of course, Jesse's like, sister. Like, And Homer's just like, "Well, she's mine." And Caleb's like, "No the hell she ain't." And then fucking Dad walks in, like, just uninvited. Just fucking straight up uninvited. Just walks in. Actually, no, I take that back. I think somebody went with him, went to go get him. The way it looks like anyway, Severin went out there to go get him. But he comes in, and he's like, "Caleb, what the hell?" And of course, Homer's got Sarah, and he's just like, "Just let my girl go. Just let my kids go. Caleb, what the hell is going on here?" And he's just like, "Dad, I can explain." "Oh, yeah, no. Caleb's with us now. Caleb's good." "Dad, you gotta leave, and you gotta, you can't stay here. You gotta go." And they try to get him out. And as soon as they do this, fucking Homer just grabs Sarah, and he's like, "No, she's not leaving." And then the dad pulls out a gun, and Caleb's just like, "Dad, that's definitely not going to help the situation. This is not helping at all. That's not going to do anything." And Jesse starts walking up to him, just smiling like a motherfucker. And he shoots Jesse in the gut, and Jesse just goes, and he pukes up the bullet, and then hands him the bullet. He's like, "This is for you, buddy. This bullet's for you." Again, great chemistry. Love these guys. But as they're arguing, it ends up when the door gets pulled open. I think Sarah pulls it open, and everybody that's part of their family flees out. Sarah, the dad, and Caleb follows behind with a blanket. He jumps in the back seat, and they take off. And of course, everybody's super pissed at him. That he just fucking left. And he's just like, Dad's just like, "I'm gonna take you to the hospital." "No, Dad, don't take me to the hospital. I would die at the hospital." "Well, son, what do you want me to do?" "I don't know. I'm sick. You wouldn't believe me." "Well, I'm gonna take you to the hospital." "Dad, don't take me to the fucking hospital." And he starts looking around in the vehicle. And he's like, "Dad, have you ever done a blood transfusion?" "What?" And then we cut to this next scene when they have Caleb on the table, and he's doing a blood transfusion on Caleb. And this scene takes a good fucking minute. It's like a weird transition of like Dad, trying to help him out, crying over his son, which I could get and I appreciate it, but it did feel a little long. But somehow, I don't know how, I really can't explain it. This has not been in any vampire lore that I know of, but somehow a human blood transfusion took all the vampire blood out of his body and made him human again. But he gets up, and of course Sarah hugs him, his dad hugs him, we're all happy, we're all dandy, we're all forgetting that we have a bunch of pissed off vampires at a motel just waiting for the sun to go down. But we're going to pretend we're a happy, normal family, and we're eating dinner. And as they're eating dinner, everything's all casual and good, and Sarah goes upstairs, and Caleb and his dad go to say something, and Caleb cuts him off, and it's just like, I hear that swing outside, I'm gonna go and oil it up, and Dad's like, what do you mean? Dad, I need some air. And he gets out there, and of course it's May on the swings, and she goes to hug him, and he backs up, and he's just like, what are you doing here? I missed you. I missed you too. And they, of course, they embrace, they hug, and then she realizes he's warm. He's warm. He ain't cold anymore. He ain't a vampire. And she backs up and says, you're warm. And he's like, my place is here. My place is with my family. Well, fine. Choose. Is it me or is it them? And all he does is just back up. That's all he does. And of course, that's all she needs to know. So she takes off. She just leaves. And at the time, you just think, why would she come back? Why is she doing this? It was a trap. She was there to distract Caleb long enough for Homer to go into Sarah's room and kidnap her. And when you know, we find that out in about a few minutes. So once she leaves, Caleb goes upstairs, sees that Sarah's missing, so he comes back downstairs, goes to get in the truck, flat tires, goes to get another truck, flat tires. So he gets his horse, and he's going to go after her on his horse. So, again, another thunderstorm's coming through as he's getting ready, and he takes off down the road. And it's a really nice shot of just the horse's hoof prints, or hooves on the pavement as he's walking. And of course, it's very dark, and it's kind of chilly. It's 2 degrees out there. And we see a little tumbleweed come by, and the horse just keeps going after being spooked for a second. And as they're going down, as he's going down the road, the horse gets spooked by Severin. And so the horse, of course, bucks back and knocks Caleb off the horse. And of course, Severin's standing there, and the horse takes off. And again, this is Bill Paxton at his finest. Caleb gets up, and he's just like, hey, buddy, how you doing? Listen, I hate to be an Indian giver. I really do. But I'm going to need my spear back, and then I'm going to knock your tonsils down your throat. How do you like them apples, buddy? Like, 110%, man, 110%. So, Caleb, of course, can't fight him now because he's not a vampire, he's a human, so he tries to fly down this truck driver. And, of course, he just gets him to the side of the truck, and he's like, drive, man, drive, run him over, just drive, and the truck driver's not having it. He's just like, listen, buddy, I'm going to give you the count of 5 to get off my vehicle before I shoot you dead. 1, 2, 4, and then before he can say 5, a fucking bullet just comes through the windshield and gets him in the head. You just hear Severin in the back just go, woo! Bullseye! Just he's so excited about that. So Caleb grabs the guy out of the vehicle, throws him out, gets into the truck, and he starts using some of that truck driving lessons he got from that man earlier in the movie. And he starts just flooring it. And Severin's standing there with his arms open like, yeah, come on, buddy, let's go. And he hits him, right? He hits him. And of course, Caleb's celebrating a little too early. He's like, whoa, yeah, I fucking got him. Whoa, fuck you, buddy. Oh, Severin ain't done yet. He's on the hood of the vehicle. He's climbing up, laughing his ass off the entire time, punching his way through the hood of the vehicle. And he's just like, how's this for a drive? And he starts fucking up the engine. And Caleb, ends up doing what the guy was teaching him about braking. So he ends up braking the vehicle, jumping out, and the whole time it's almost like that moment for what's the name of that black and white movie with the guys on the rocket, and he's like a cowboy going woo yeah on the rocket. I can't remember the name of the fucking movie, but it's an old school black and white movie, like Dr. Manhattan or something. I can't remember. But it reminds me of that, though. Just him on the hood of this vehicle. Woo, yeah! As the vehicle explodes. Because, cars of the 80s, just the slight tinker of your finger and they would explode. But after that gets done, Caleb stands up and Jess is standing there with May. And he's looking all badass with his duster on. And, May's just like, please just give him one more chance. Just let him just do one more try. And he's like, shut up, Jenna, shut up. I taught Severin everything, but I didn't teach him everything I know. And, of course, Caleb walks up to him, where's my sister? And Diamond starts popping up behind him, and she's getting her knife ready to throw. And the entire time, Jesse's keeping them distracted, going, don't worry about her. Oh, this has nothing to do with my sister. You leave her alone. Oh, yeah, no. Homer likes her, and the whole time Homer has Sarah in the vehicle, and he's trying to keep her calm. And Sarah grabs his flashlight and hits him upside the head with it, and gets up and sees Diamond behind Caleb. So she gets out the car screaming, Caleb, behind you! And Caleb ducks the moment Diamond throws her knife. And she gets Jess in the fucking mouth with it. Like, it's a beautiful shot. This knife just going into his mouth. And, of course, everyone's just like, damn it, Diamondback. Like, I know that's what I was saying, at least. But he pulls it out of his mouth. And, Diamond looks at Caleb and he tells him, run, boy, run. Trying to trick him to turn his back on her so she could kill him. And May steps in and intervenes, so they end up taking off. And of course, Jesse's just like, everyone just get in the vehicle. Come on, let's go after them. Everyone, come on. And of course, Homer's freaking the fuck out because apparently this is his girl. This is his dream girl, and she's getting away. But still, though, grown man trapped in the body of a child here. Like, it's questions, lots of questions that bring up a lot of concerns. But as Caleb's running with Sarah in his arms, of course he collapses over a little bit and gets her to start running. And then the car comes up and grabs her. And Caleb starts running after her, thinking, I guess for some reason he's a fucking track star now. Let's not whistle for a horse. No. Let's just go follow them after the vehicle. Let's just go follow the vehicle. And as they're all freaking out, trying to cover the windows, and Homer's trying to calm Sarah down, not very well, May just gets this overwhelming sensation of, I'm going to be hero. I feel like being hero today. So she grabs Sarah and then jumps out the back of the vehicle. Why is the sun's still up, by the way. And Homer screams and he jumps out the vehicle. And of course, Jesse and Diamondback go, no, Homer, May, what the fuck? And then, of course, they got to turn the vehicle around. And May takes off running with Sarah towards Caleb. And, of course, she's smoking. And Homer's just on fire at this moment. Screaming, no, come back. No, don't do this. Don't do this. And eventually, Caleb gets to Sarah and May, covers May up with his jacket, and then, brings her in close. And we just see Homer standing there, and he screams as he's on fire, and then explodes. Just poof, explodes. And then we see Jess and Diamondback in the vehicle, and they're burning. The sunproofing's not working. The windows are smashed. They're fucking dead. And, they're holding each other's hands. And she's just like, baby, it was a good run. It really was. And they drive forward like they're about to hit Caleb and May. But unfortunately, they burn up before they can get there. So the car slowly stops and then just explodes because they exploded in the vehicle. And after all that moment, they end up going to, I guess, taking May to the farm to get her in there to do the blood transfusion, and it's also a success. And of course, Caleb comes in, opens the door, the light comes shining through. May's all skittish because she hasn't seen the sun in 4 years. And he's like, hey, it's okay, it's cool, it's cool. Then it becomes the opposite of how the beginning of the movie was. Because remember, I made the point to talk about how Caleb made a mention that he's scared, he's afraid, because he's a vampire living in this dark world. Now May's afraid. She's afraid to live in this world of light. She hasn't been in this world before in a long time to her. Like, I'm sure 4 years as a vampire feels like an eternity. I'm sure it feels like an eternity. And then God forbid you live for an eternity. That just feels like a fucking 2.5 years of a lifetime. But she's afraid, and he hugs her and brings her in clothes and says, don't be. It's just the sun. And then we end on a freeze frame of the sun coming in and Caleb holding May. Like I said, it's a fantastic movie. It's a wonderful movie. It's a little cult classic. It's got a little bit of a following. Some people remember it, some people don't. I'm sad that I didn't watch it growing up. I'm sure I would have loved it as a kid. Is it super fucking scary? No. But it's fucking vampire western. A vampire western. You don't see many of those. And I love vampire movies. I'm always a sucker for a good vampire movie. Especially, more or less when they're fucking creepy as shit. Nosferatu, the original Dracula. Of course, Dracula 2000. I do like it when they're sexy vampires. Don't get me wrong, sexy vampires are good. Especially Dracula 2000, J.R. Butler. Woo! That man looked good. Oh, that man looked fantastic. But when I was a kid, I was scared to death of him. I'm not gonna lie. I like Dracula 2000. Y'all can talk all the shit y'all want. I like Dracula 2000. I will stand on that hill. I am not afraid to admit that. But I like my vampire movies, though. And yeah, this ain't one of the scariest horror movies I've ever talked about. Granted, I know there's plenty of horror movies I talked about on here that aren't that scary to some people, but to each their own. And some people are terrified of vampires. I'm not one of them. I'm more the idiot that would fall in love with a vampire because I'm a fucking idiot who loves vampires. But that's just me, though. But yeah, it was a fun movie. I'm glad I sat down and watched it. It was a little cheesy. Just a wee bit, just a tiny bit. Like I'm talking about, how we make that joke about you go to Olive Garden and you're like, tell me when on the Parmesan. We're like 20 minutes later, still waiting on that win. Not on this. It's more like, okay, win. Just like that, just one look. Because there's, like I said, there's some cheesiness. Mainly it's between May and Caleb's relationship, because it seems so quick, so fast, so quick. It's literally the best way I can describe the relationship. It's so fucking quick. Like, they just met and he's all, I love you, kiss me, da da da, and she's all like, oh, I'm a vampire, so I'm gonna make you a vampire too. Like, seriously. But other than that, I find the chemistry of the vampires really well. I wish we got more of them. I know I say that like 1,004 times during this podcast, but I do. I wish we had more of these guys. Just them at the bar, them chilling out, playing poker. Were great scenes, fantastic scenes that I absolutely love. Don't get me wrong, the love story, it's there, it's cute. It's what drives the movie. But I really wish we would have spent more time with maybe Caleb being the vampire and maybe accepting it, but then having doubts after his first kill or something like that, or having him have that moral judgment. Like, say he had that guy and he killed him and then felt bad about it after the fact. That could have played out differently, and then they could have had a whole different kind of like shootout scene or something like that. Like, there were opportunities. I see where they went with this movie. Am I happy with this movie? Yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm happy with this movie. I thought it was really good. Good writing, fine acting. The lighting was great. The music was fantastic, which we don't get to see a lot of that in modern horror movies. They don't make songs for movies anymore, like straight up, and it kind of pisses me off because, do you remember back in the day when they used to make music just for the movie, like scores and all just for this movie. They don't do shit like that anymore because it costs a lot of fucking money to make individual scores when it's just easier and cheaper just to kind of borrow some written tunes for somebody else, or just take one or two songs that you can afford to put in the end credits of the title or something like that. But overall, absolutely love this movie. I can't believe it took me all these years to watch this movie, but I'm glad I was able to sit down and enjoy this movie. I can't wait to talk about some of the other vampire movies, because this is what we're going to be doing for the rest of the month, is talk about my favorite vampire movies. Of course, I'm going to bring out Lost Boys, because that is more of a horror element to it, especially with how gritty the vampires are. I'm thinking about Fright Night. I'm not sure which Fright Night, though, because I like both of them. They're both really good. Colin Farrell, man, God, and then David Tennant's in it. I might actually just go with the new Fright Night one. Like, don't get me wrong, the old one's really, really good. I love the old one. But I like Colin Farrell as a vampire. He plays a really good bad guy. I'm not gonna lie, there's certain actors who just play bad guys very well. He's one of them. David Tennant's another guy who can play a bad guy. Granted, he's not playing a bad guy in Fright Night, but I love him in that movie, especially when he's in those leather pants. And he's just getting undressed for the day, like taking his wig off and his beard and all that shit. Love it though. I fucking love it. So I might do the remake. I want to say that one came out in 2010. I have to go back and look it up, but I might talk about that one. And as much as I love Interview with the Vampire, I don't think it's not very horror-y. Like, there's some horror moments, but it's more of a drama kind of, emotional movie, especially when you start getting with Claudia and all her bullshit. I don't know, that might be something to debate later on. But for now, I know I wanted to talk about the Lost Boys, and I want to talk about Fright Night for sure. We'll just have to see how the rest of the month play out. I'll have to go through my vampire list catalogs. And I swear, guys, I won't talk about Twilight. Yeah. Thank God that's not a horror movie. Otherwise, I would talk about it because sparkling vampires. Sparkling fucking vampires. Like, David's over there just mocking Edward Cullen. Like, seriously, guys, y'all supposed to be vampires? Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. Real vampires burn, bitch. But yeah, super excited about the rest of the podcast this month, which is going to roll us into October, which is going to be all about Five Nights at Freddy's. And then November, of course, is going to be my favorite horror movies of all time. We're going to be talking about several good ones that are like my personal favorite. They're the ones I always throw on. Some of them are rather obvious. Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. But I do have a couple of them that y'all may not be too familiar with. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. But I'm going to go ahead and end this podcast here. I hope everybody who has watched, is watching, will watch. I hope you enjoy. I hope everybody has a fantastic and a wonderful night. And if you watch this video here on YouTube or wherever you're at on Spotify or Anchor, please give this video a like, subscribe, and quite possibly a comment down below, because you never know what's going to happen here. Trust me, I never know. I do my best to keep y'all up to date on my schedule, but, life tends to life as per usual. So hopefully we can get this out and have a swell time with the rest of the month, because it's going to be fantastic to talk about all my favorite vampire movies. But like I said, guys, that's a story for another day. So until then, my friends, y'all take care.